Can you double
Awesome.
check if that goes up on the actual YouTube?
I will send a message to Titu.
I absolutely can't wait to see the tier 4's response to me doing yet another tier 2 stream. You know it's gonna happen, right? They're gonna see this and go like, what the actual fuck? Yeah, it's the actual thing. I've got the notification, which means we are properly live now. People will
Yep,
be able to start joining. Give it
I've
a
got that
couple of
as
minutes.
well.
Yeah, give it a couple of minutes, and then we will get going. But yeah, I wanted to do this. I would have done 2 today, but I have games of Pro Club later on, like playoff games. I actually have to care about. Um, um, so yeah, I wanted to just give myself some time to actually play those.
Fair enough. Right, let me have a look at the standings as well before this race so we can sort of get a good idea.
Well, post-Stewards ones, because everyone is everyone's reporting everyone in tier 2 apparently.
Yeah, I tell you what, when I saw the post Stewarts from the last race, when Ben went from, what was it,
Uh,
fifth, wasn't it?
yeah, and he got
Fourth.
the incident with Chris and
Yeah,
then someone else as well.
he went from fourth to ninth. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, that's a
He
lot
got
of time.
I'm pretty sure he got one of those penalties removed after.
I think he did.
Speaking of round 4, did you know there is a tier 4? Auto, can you not comment on this and go and look at your tiers fucking chat for 1 second? It's literally the last message.
So, actually, that reminds me, I need to get in touch with Ross. I need to get in touch with Ross and put a report into Auto for bad gun jokes and get him to minus 100 points from Auto so he goes back into the spot in the standing.
Oh god. I forgot the jokes even actually happened. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I mean, it's been a while since we've done tier 4, but
Definitely haven't not done tier 4 since the beginning of the season. But yeah, for those who for some reason who are in here from tier 4 and haven't looked at your chat yet for some reason.
not naming anybody. Auto.
your next comms will be there will be at least one comms tomorrow because I have jack shit to do. So there will be at least one comms tomorrow. That will be Bathurst because I may or may not be 3 weeks behind. There's
Yeah.
a possibility, depending on whether or not I go and get some tickets for a game of the weekend, possibility of doing 2. I'm not going to commit to that yet because I don't know.
Ah, you know what they say. You live once.
I need to talk to I think my brother actually. I need to sort that out. Yeah, I'm going to final game of the season on
Well,
Saturday morning.
Dawn's just come back and said, what already? So I'm tempted to say, well, should we just end the stream right here and say another week?
Yeah, there you go. Pack it up. Another week. He screwed it. He's absolutely screwed it. Oh, cannot wait to see the Super GT. Super. Well, I'm just now not going to do it. Actually, no, I will do it and then precisely not show Otto's car at any point.
Oh, yes. Sounds good to me.
Just to fuck with Otto. But yeah. Alright, I think it's been 5 minutes. Well, the stream said it's
Let's
been
have a
5
look.
minutes. I'll say that much. It
Yeah,
just
it's
gone
about
over.
5 minutes.
Yeah, just got over the 5 minute mark. So let's start running through the grid and definitely see for the first time this season that Ben is not on pole position in a sprint race. I'm not entirely sure how this has happened.
I'm more astounded that the FT1 is on P1, is on P2, and the McLaren, the first McLaren's in P4.
I would say it would be astounded. The McLaren doesn't have it doesn't have great straight line speed, so I guess them being so high in terms of the sprint is a little bit of a surprise. But the FT1 has a great straight line speed, so coming down this particular giant straight, I'm not entirely too surprised the FT1 is doing well.
I'm also surprised that the Supra isn't high up either. Where's the first Supra?
No idea. Definitely not in the top 8. You know what is the most surprising thing? The BRG being in the top 8 in qualifying time.
Yes.
That BRG is an absolute travesty.
To be fair, he might lose a load of time down the straight, but in the corners and under braking, he probably makes it up tenfold compared to other cars.
Tyres probably decent as well. We'll see what he can do. Then we got Ben in third, our Faxid in fourth, Asseldor in fifth, Ross in sixth. Oh, I'm looking for a little bit of revenge, given the fact that he can't take the piss out of me this week. And well, he didn't show up last week, so I can return the favour then. Turbo Boy in seventh, Wedley in eighth, Boomer in ninth, Hammers in 10th, Filthy in 11th, and Roblox in 12th. Did Chris not race? I don't think Chris raced.
I don't think Chris raced. Let me just double check something.
Spoiled the entire race for him.
No, I don't think Chris did race. But yeah, whilst we're having a look at the back of the grid, sorry, whilst I was sorting a few bits out, trying to get more people to come and join us. Where's the?
Well, I think we can safely say that one of the things you wanted to do for comps this week is just been made instantly irrelevant. That's quick.
Well, to be fair, there's still 2 of them here, so we can still involve them too.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, either way, we've gone through the grid. Everyone should be on softs. I will die laughing if everyone isn't by this point. But let's go. Let's go and get some red lights. It's 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's lights out, away we go, and that Lexus has not got enough of its grid slot at all. The FT1, however, absolutely hard, down towards turn 1, takes the lead. Ben gets squeezed just a little bit out by Dan there, and oh, that did not look too good. Let's have a very quick second look at that as we go down towards turn 1. I want to get a much better look here.
Did I give him no space?
Dan does come across, and it looks like he's trying to do a...
Ooh, interesting.
He somehow kept that going, may I add, and it looked like someone's had an absolute nightmare.
They're still at it, going through turn 2, coming up to turn 3, and finally Dan takes the space back from Ben. Yeah, as they all slot into going towards turn 3 as we got... Who's that one?
Do they? Right, let's go back 10 seconds, I guess, because we've got about 4 or 5 cars hitting each other by the looks of things here. Looks like Boomer's gone off, Hasseldor's there as well, and I think it's Turbo Boy the other. Oh, the Filthy! There's just so many of them.
And who's off the track? Someone's right off the track. Sorry, yeah, it's Phil. Yeah.
There we go, down the inside now. Roblox on Hasseldor, and it looked like Roblox has got a decent little run here, but he's going to be hampered by that McLaren in front of him that just doesn't have a great straight line speed as they head down now towards what would be a chicane if we were on the long version of this track. Hasselhoff's going to go to the inside of Turbo Boy. Doesn't get it done though. Turbo Boy holds on and Roblox just squeezed off the track a little bit there by the Lexus. He's held on to the pace against Filthy for now. Just about holds on full stop.
I would say it's been great racing so far, but there's been a lot more argy-bargy than I would have expected. But also, on top of that, from 7th upwards, there's one pack, and then we got from 8th all the way down to 12th, there's another pack. So already after one lap, we've got quite a sizable gap.
Yep, and it's already starting to just peer through how this is going to go as we continue to... we're actually going to go to the front real quick because Den's still had the lead of the race for now. Dan's going to go to the outside, try and swing one on the outside. Maybe a little bit of a switchback opportunity available if he can stick the landing. But it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it.
Alongside, Den gives him enough room. And he's going to do it. He's going to have a look around the outside. Or no, he's not. He's going to do the switchback. Have a look at... No, he's not. Sorry, it looks weird from that camera angle as we're jottering around.
Yeah, definitely. Not entirely sure whose replay this was, but it definitely didn't look too not laggy, I'll say that much, as we go round, well, into the beginning of the final sector again here with Denz and Dan the Man. Those two, 1 and 2 at this point in time, and Denz just doing enough again to slam that door shut right now, and all these guys are doing by not working together is bringing in bringing in what was the championship leader, as Ben now goes, and that does not look good.
That does not look good.
We're going to go back and get a proper look at this. I want to look from Ben's camera angle. There's a little bit of a touch there between Dan and Den's.
There's a little bit of contact there, but Ben tries and capitalises and just plows straight through him, from the looks of things.
We're jumping around a little bit, so you have to take that into account. But it definitely didn't look good for Ben there, I don't think. No. We head into the final corner of the lap with Dan and Faxid, actually. It's the wrong McLaren, just expected it to be Turbo Boy. Going through into the straight now.
Here comes Ross, taking advantage. Gets to pass down before the pit entrance. As Ross takes advantage over the McLaren getting a really squiggly exit.
We're going to go back to the lead of this race.
Of Denz, and does Ben get it done? He does. He gets it done on the exit of turn 1, so he's going to take the lead of this race. Now, is he going to try and get a couple of clean laps that we've seen in previous sprint races to try and clear Denz and try and gain back his, title lead, effectively?
Yeah, and,
Dan's got a 1.5 second penalty.
How has he managed that, first off?
I think he might have gone wide at turn 3. Or he might have cut the corner, but that's going to really harm him because the penalty line's down the main straight.
Oh, yeah, and that Lexus doesn't have the greatest top speed either, so he's going to get hindered significantly on that straight. But we've seen this before, and we've seen it in this race as well. Ben has had a bit of a problem with the stewards room so far this season, and I guess he's going back for a little bit more.
Yeah, I was having a little chat as, they're all plainly through. Sorry, I thought there was a little bit of argy-bargy back there. But no, I was talking to Ben earlier on in the week, and he does feel that the incident last week was a little bit nitpicky, but as the appeal has gone through, it was actually a racing incident that stewards then changed their mind to. I believe I'm correct, it was a racing incident that they changed it to.
Yep, it was, and we just in Dan's service penalty here. He drops all the way down to 6th. Wedley having a decent shot at this as well. Brummer and Asseldor going through turn 1. Looked like Brummer was really, really close to the rear of that car. Just about trying to fashion an opening, and just cannot do it at this point in time. Only got 12 in the lobby, so top 10 will score points. Obviously a normal sprint race rules here. So it's a very good opportunity for everybody to get on the board in this race. Turbo Boy looking to the outside and now having to deal with Broomer and Dasseldor in front, having a little bit of a push between each other, and it looked like Dasseldor was the one that benefited the most from that, even though the Broomer was the one who pushed him.
He is. It also looks like Acetor's doing a great job at holding them all up to try and allow Dan some clean air and clean space to catch back up with the top 5.
Yep, he's going to need to, because there's just a small amount of a break starting to form now, and also that break involves first and second place, considering Ben has done exactly what he's done in basically every other sprint race for the rest of time. It's starting to break away just a little bit. Then the FT1 is trying to hang in there. I think the FT1 has a better straight line speed than the BMW. You can see in the background that that gap is starting to shrink just a little bit. The Genesis not able to hold up as well as we head down towards turn 1 now. Ben still in the lead, still in control of this one, halfway, or not quite halfway through into the 5th lap of what will be 10. Got Dan in second, Ross in third, our Faxon in fourth. Oh, Dan and Wesley going at each other.
I did spot, just as you were chatting back then, Dan did get Wesley down the straight, but I think Wesley had a little look at around the outside or inside that we missed. But as you rightly said, there's a little bit of a gap forming up. I reckon if Dan keeps his nose clean and gets some good clean overtakes in, I reckon he can get up to Ross by the end of this race. I reckon maybe even pass him, but we'll have to wait and see what he can do with that Lexus.
Yeah, we see that as soon as we say that he needs to keep it clean, he goes wide and hits the grass just a little bit, because of course commentator's curse is definitely not a thing.
Definitely not.
Yeah, the middle sector, it is in the final sector now. Our Faxon and the McLaren in front of him. The McLaren not so good here until you wait until the feature race, and then his tyres are just going to wipe the floor with basically everybody. But for now, yeah, as you said earlier, the gap is definitely opening up at the front of this grid. The back of this grid is starting to bunch up now, so we're not going to be shy on racing as a whole, given the fact that we've got 3 or 4 cars in multiple different areas of the track right now going after each other down towards turn 1. We've got Turbo Boy, Roblox and Broomer at the back here trying to figure something out. Can they figure something out? It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. The FT1 too quick, and the McLaren just closing the door there on the Ferrari and keeping it nice and clean for the moment's time.
They are, there's a couple, as you said, there's a couple of little battles coming up. There's small packs of 4 or 5, there's 2s and there's 3s. Yeah, that Ferrari doing a fantastic job keeping up with the McLaren, especially around a track like this. I'm just having a look at the tyres. We're only on 3 times tyre for this sprint race, and I'm just looking at some of the tyres and how, as Wesley goes a little bit wide, coming out of that corner there, coming out of turn 5. I was just looking at the tyres, and Anton's tyres there, he just looks like his front left's not, well, I wouldn't say it's holding obviously, but it just doesn't look like it's lasting, or he's going to make it last. I know it's only a sprint race, but
well, given the fact that it's it's one of the highest, if not the highest tyre wear track on the calendar so far, Faxon just about holding on there. Oh, actually overtaking Ross, I think it was, going through the final corner. He won't last too long because the Mario McLaren straight line speed is not going to help him whatsoever here. The Genesis definitely quicker in a straight line and has the slipstream of that Lexus in front of him, because the Lexus for some reason isn't helping the McLaren, which is a very interesting choice. Got Turbo Boy in front of us, also got, I think that's Hasseldor and Wesley in behind as well, as Hasseldor to the inside, and a little bit of a switchback opportunity does not come to fruition there for Wesley at all, so he drops down, and Hasseldor takes 6th place. Turbo Boy also with Roblox just in behind.
yeah, and we got is that Ham?
Yeah, it's Hammers in behind. Hammers is
Hammers,
trying to get himself in a Corvette, trying to get himself involved in this race. We haven't said his name an awful lot today, but he's starting to make his name known.
he's starting to get there. Isn't he a tier 2 reserve, if I'm correct?
Yeah, new driver. First his debut today. Wesley trying to get past Hasseldor there, and Ross and our Faxid going at it for what feels like the 15th time in this race, just on its own, as Dan the Man has got past and is starting just to break away. As you can see the background of the screen there, is just starting to break away from the rest of the pack that is closing up. And, well, I think Dan's got third pretty much sold it in right now.
Ross has a little look up the inside on the last corner. They keep it nice and clean and tidy, give each other plenty of space. And that McLaren, as you said last lap, is now going to suffer, especially when you got 2 cars behind you in the slipstream. Zarfax makes his one move to the right hand side to defend the inside. Does Ross have a look around the outside, or is he going to go inside? He's going to go outside. And then side by side into turn 1. And Ross takes a good line. Ross can't quite get the switch back, and they slot back into place again. Ross is having a look. As he has a look around the outside after. Does the switch back? Yes, it kind of works. It doesn't really. It compromises him. And here comes the Lexus. And what happened there?
That looked like a bit aggressive, but we're going to have another look here. Hopefully from on board of Vasseldor. If I can sort out a camera angle within half a decade. As we go through and Ross just kind of turned in on him there. Nowhere to go. I think he may have just lost sight of the fact that the Lexus was there. There goes Ross down the inside there and gets it all sorts of wrong.
Does Wesley capitalise? Can Wesley capitalise on Ross's little mistake just there? As Ross runs it really wide coming out of turn 5, as they go through 6 and 7 coming up towards turn 8, or Wesley's just a bit too far back.
As almost ended up on an Instagram reel from Ross there, so TikTok. But something of that nature, that kind of dive is definitely going to land you on a compilation list somewhere, that's for sure.
I'll let you organise that.
Take the piss out of Ross somehow. But yeah, the inside line here on that final corner is not paying off whatsoever for anyone. You can see that the exit, it gets extremely compromised, and you can tell that that's the case because Wesley, who went on the inside of Ross beforehand, is now being absolutely decimated in a straight line by McLaren. As Turbo Boy just makes that look very easy in a straight line in a car with no straight line speed.
I don't think this is over because that BRZ has got monster brakes and turning speed. I just don't think it's going to be enough to get up to that McLaren of Turbo Boy. Turbo Boy being the latest feature winner as of last Monday. Get your dates correct. Start.
Last weekend we did the com, so we can let you have a free pass for that one.
Thank you. Although I did say on a Saturday we're racing Fuji tomorrow, on a Sunday I had the right area, the wrong Grand Prix. Oh
god, you just had it in your mind that this was a Sunday night. Very clearly a Sunday stroll in Tier 4.
It's because the last time we did comms was a Sunday, and I was like, oh yeah, we got a race tomorrow. And then it's like, it's a Sunday. No, it's not.
Brain just not computing at all at the moment then. It looked like everyone taking just a little bit of a wider line through the second to last, and then about 100 different lines between the actual races there in that final corner.
Had a little bit of a wiggly exit there, and Ross is going to try and capitalise. He's in the slipstream. They're all in the slipstream, I think. Let's stay with them. Ross is getting a lot closer. He has a little look at the inside. Hasseldorn does not defend, as we got the Corvette swinging out as well, just a bit further back behind them. It's Ross up the inside. Does he? Can Hasseldorn make the drive? No, he can't. Ross takes the position.
Yeah, Ross on the outside there does a really nice job holding on to someone. I don't know if anyone else saw that in the background, but I did, and I want to see what the hell just happened here. Because
Oh,
Oh, so there's a lot that happens here. And I'm aware of this situation already because I did this one. So I'm going to give you this camera angle because this is pretty foretelling of a lot of things here. As he
right.
goes,
So we got
both of them go very, very
both
deep.
go.
Just a case of whether or not he's required the space there because Roblox getting it. Let's just have another quick look and see what
Right,
we
so
think of this.
Roblox goes up to the outside, brakes quite late, I'd say.
Definitely in making the corner. Neither did Broomer on the same. Oh,
It's
that's.
just keeping
Oh,
full gas on the outside.
yeah, that's gonna do filthy. That's definitely gonna do filthy, and I think that
Yeah,
might be what caused Filthy to quit the league.
it's unfortunate because Filthy is a good driver. Don't get me wrong. It's just unfortunate, wrong place at the wrong time. He had nothing to do with that at all.
Yeah, as we go into the final lap now, considering everyone is started, well, the final lap just flashed up. We're about 70 seconds overboard on the time. We're just going to take a look down into this, the beginning of the final sector here, then we'll go to the front, see if anything is going to change. Because
Ooh,
look at
oh,
this! They're all really close as they go through the final couple of corners in the sprint race here. Ben
are
is
we?
in the lead from Dens from Dan. Can Dan make something happen against Dens here, who goes really shallow to try and make sure that Dan can't do anything, but Dan manages to get through anyway, and Dens realistically should have just taken the wider line and made sure that he had a good enough exit to stop this Lexus because he's in a faster car in a straight line. But down to the line goes Ben, who wins yet another sprint race in this season. He is now 4 for 4. Just
That was a fantastic final couple of corners.
definitely not as normal or as dominant as we've seen other races be from Ben so far. But he gets first, Dan gets second, so it's not exactly like he's going to gain a lot there on Dan. Den gets third, he's good for his title hopes. Trying to move up the title nonetheless. Faxon in fourth, Ross gets fifth, Asseldor sixth, Turbo Boy seventh somehow. Wedley gets eighth in the end. It could have been better for him, it could have been worse. Hammers gets ninth, and then Broomer rounds out the points here in the sprint race for Tier 2. That is a very, very interesting finish.
That
Would
was
have,
very interesting.
I would have loved to see how that would have looked if quite frankly we weren't looking at watching on a potato apparently.
There's a lot of rubber banding going on.
You see, the only people who've managed actually to put up the replays for Tier 2 are Asseldor and Bad Robot. I'm pretty sure I just watched Bad Robot's POV there. And it was like, I know for a fact from Austria, Asseldor's POV is never usually a clean one either. So, which one do you want to watch? Which Lagfest do you want to watch?
Well, we tried Bad Robot, so why don't we try Asador?
Sounds good.
Let's see what this one goes like. And whilst we're loading, shall we reload ourselves?
Yep, of course, as per.
As per.
Stop share play.
There we go. So, after seeing that sprint, what do you think? What do you think's going to happen in the feature? Who do you reckon's going to take it?
Well, Ben's not got enough tyres. Ben
No,
just simply hasn't got enough tyres at any point to figure this one out. He'll have the pace, but he won't have the tyres. Honestly, I think Ross is going to end up. Ross is from what I had been told earlier on in the week, and again on Monday, Ross has an interesting strategy. I don't know if that'll pay off for him. But realistically, I think this is a case of if you can do soft, then you probably stand a really good chance. So my money is on a Lexus or a McLaren.
fair enough. Well, again, I was talking to over the week. I've been talking to the top three championship drivers, and But I'm going to leave Chris out of this for the time being because Chris isn't at this race currently. But both Dan and Ben feel very, very comfortable in their cars. Very comfortable. Ben did mention that at low speed, it's not really comfortable, and he is biting his own tyre wear in the feature races, but he really enjoys the car. He is fairly comfortable with the car. And Dan is very comfortable with his Lexus. He knows that he has a fuel advantage over the rest of the grid. So, to me, him having a fuel advantage over the rest of the grid, I could potentially see Dan doing the soft strategy, so he doesn't have to put as much fuel in at the end. As for Ben, maybe a medium. I could see him doing a soft, but I think the tyre wear is going to be too high for him and his car to do the two-stop.
I think a potential medium soft might be the case that what Ben goes for here, which I think is enough to put the nail in the coffin to start with, which is unfortunate. The BMW tyre wear combined with pad tyre wear is never a good combination. So let's just run through the grid real quick and figure out who is going to start on what tyre. That might give us more of an indication of what they plan to do. So we've got Brumer on the mediums, Hammers on the mediums, Wesley on the mediums, which is an interesting situation for three of the guys at the front here. You know, Turbo Boy on the softs, Asseldo on the mediums, Ross on the softs, Fax on the soft, and McLaren's very clearly setting up to do what we were talking about. That is the soft strategy is where you have to do it in the McLaren. It is just the easiest thing to do because you can make it work. Dan on the soft in the FT1, Dan on the medium tires in the Lexus is an interesting conundrum.
Interesting.
There. And
Ben on the medium,
as we expected, on a medium tire because he isn't able to make the soft go for any distance whatsoever. Then you've got Roblox on mediums and Filthy on mediums. So
interesting. It's a good split of medium soft runners.
Yeah, a large majority are on the medium tire.
Unless they all feel that they can't make the softs last.
I think it's a case. I don't know. We're gonna have to pay more attention later, but it's a case of I think some of these might be trying a one stop.
I'm not sure one stop's going to be. I'm not sure one stop's going to be possible because during testing, when I did it, it was about a 30 to 35 second pit stop with tyres and pretty much a full tank. Well, I say full tank, about 60-70% tank. So it'd be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. This might be the first race where we've seen a strategy not prevail in terms of the common denominator in a race. So obviously St. Croix had different strategies. You put different in quotes, considering the fact that they had it all devolved into a soft, into a two-stop soft in the end. But yeah, there's a lot that could potentially change as a result of these strategies. But I think we should probably get going now. Get this underway. All right, let's go. So the front three on a medium tire, which is going to be a very interesting conundrum as we watch just some of the lights come on there. And 3, 2, 1, and we are off and running. Hammers has definitely got a better start than that FT1 in the Corvette, which is not too surprising given the fact that he has a car with a better set of straight line speed. Turbo Boy has a better tyre.
Up the inside of Wesley. He's going to try and exploit the soft tyres as early as possible. Ross goes a little wide.
Yeah, and I think Wesley screwed up there because Wesley has managed to concede the position of both Turbo Boy and possibly Asseldor here as well. Asseldor going a little bit too deep in the corner though, so Wesley is going to hang on to fourth for dear life right now. Ross and Arfaxid also trying to chomp at the beat.
Hammers ran wide. Hammers ran wide through turn 4 and Turbo's just gone straight up the inside of him. So Turbo, in a matter of 5 corners, 6 corners, has gone from fourth up to second, and here comes Wesley up the inside of Hammers.
Yeah, Wedley coming back straight away, taking back the third he had at the beginning of the race. Hammer's dropping a couple. I think Asseldor held off Ross as well, as a few of the people at the back there just starting to jockey for position in the first lap. Ross still right on the back of Asseldor as well. I think Wedley is going to take a wide line, maybe a too wide a line. Let's see if he can hang on there. He does hang on. It's almost a case of he might have had a bit too much speed there for Turbo Boy in front of him.
Asseldor and Hammers give Wesley a little bit of a nudge.
It might have been a little bit of contact through the back there, you know. I think Asseldor may have got tagged as well.
Might have.
If it has, it would have been Ross that tagged him. We're not going to go back and see that because nothing has actually come out of this. There's a lot of... That is a gaggle of cars in the middle there that just don't know where to go.
This could get messy, but let's have a look. Let's see if Tier 2 can keep it clean and tidy going up to the turn 1 for the second time.
No, the answer is they cannot.
No, they can't.
The answer is they cannot, but somehow managed to come out of it entirely unscathed. That is incredible. How have they managed that then?
I'm curious, did Asseldor brake a little bit later, or did he get a little bit of a nudge as Wesley goes really wide through turn 3? The only reason why I say that is Asseldor looked like he went, I wouldn't say charging up the inside, is that too wide for the lead? It is.
It is. Round the outside goes Turbo. Can he hang on? Broomer's doing the me strategy of if they're off the track, you don't need to let them back on, and I completely endorse it. I'm a steward's best friend sometimes, I swear to God.
I can tell.
But no, it's aggressive. I can say that. But if they're off the track, if they've gone entirely off the track, you don't need to let them back on.
As we look a little bit further back, we got a huge gaggle of cars, all just in for positions, all taking different lines.
It's Wedley going to be the one that wins out here, though. Our Faxon trying to make his way through as well. Ross on the inside line, which we've already established is not the best place to be in terms of the exit, but he is still up and ahead of our Faxon, who may have just gone ever so slightly too wide in order to hold his car in place. And here comes Ross against that Subaru that just has no straight line speed. It's not even like he has a bad straight line speed, it just doesn't have it, doesn't exist. And he loses out on multiple positions there. Down the 7th goes Wedley as we head down into turn 1 now with Ross on the inside of Asseldor and Ross on the inside of Asseldor. And here comes our Faxon as well. Maybe a little bit of a bump draft on the Genesis there to make sure that they both got through the hole there created by Ross on Asseldor. And it looked like Dan and Wedley are going to fight each other in the back here. A little bit side by side again. Wedley just a little bit off the track, and those two just keeping it elbows out, but nice and clean nonetheless. As Dens is also going to try and follow through the hole, but that hole doesn't exist this time because Stan has done an excellent job of shutting it really early.
It seems like our top 3 from the sprint race can't make any ground at the moment. They just, every time they try and make a little bit of ground, they get caught up. As we got Dan and Wesley side by side, as Dan gets the position, here comes through Dens to take advantage of Wesley being offline. Let's have a look. I think, yep, Dens has got him.
Yep, Dens again, just absolutely incredible. Also, our Faxon and Ross, I think there may have been a tad little bit of contact, but not enough to really moan about that, I don't think, because our Faxon is just making his way through the grid.
We got Dan and Asseldor side by side coming out the final corner. That's not what you need at all.
Two teammates going at it when they realistically should be helping one another try and get away from the chasing pack. You've got Dens behind you. See, Dens is a problem throughout the entire sprint race. You should be trying to eliminate that problem as soon as humanly possible. We've got the cars behind as well as I think Wedley is just dropping like a stone right now.
He is. I think he's realised quite early in the season he's picked the wrong car for this season, but fair play to him. He's trying. He's trying to make that work, and he is doing his best, and you got to give him credit.
He's toughing it out, that's for certain. He got 8th in the sprint, which I think may have been his actual best finish of the season up to this point, which is absolutely not a depressing statement for someone who just got relegated from Tier 1. We've got a couple of people trying to fight their way through. Roblox going a bit deep there. That might open the door again for Wedley, but we're going to go a little bit further up the grid right now and see if anything is going to happen towards the front. Turbo Boy in the lead of the race from Boomer in second right now, and it looks like there's a decent chunk of a gap that splits first and the rest of the grid. Then you've got Hammers, and here comes...
up the inside.
Yeah, you're right.
Is the inside... I don't think the inside line's going to quite work there, Ross. I think... As we have a little look again, is Ross going to look for the switchback? No, they're both going to slot in.
It's all about the exit on the final corner, though. It doesn't really matter about your entry. If you can get a good enough exit, you should gain a few temps, and a few temps is more than enough to put yourself into a good enough slipstream or a good enough run just to get the guy in front. And we might be seeing that happen here. Our Factor getting a good enough exit, has the slipstream on Hammers right now, but that Corvette power just doing enough to hold on against the McLaren. Again, this McLaren straight line speed is just hampering people down the straight here at Fuji.
It is, as we got Dan now coming into the picture. Dan haven't put in a good solid lap, keeping himself out of trouble. We got a little bit of smoke coming up there, so I think there might have been a bit of contact just there.
It might have been, and if it was, it was
our
Dan
and Ross side by side. I think Dan's got the position on Ross. He has. Ross starting off quite... Ross not having a great start to this feature race, is he?
I don't think he's had the worst start, but I think he may have had a little bit of contact there. Not even with just Dan, as we just saw in the picture, which was a little bit of contact going through the final corner in Sector 2. But I think he may have had contact with our Fax, and maybe a little bit of an unfortunate bump draft, which kind of just cost him a couple of positions. Here comes Dan on the inside of Hammers. It's going to be a really good move if he can get it. He's still stuck alongside, now to the outside. And here comes Ross, just trying to figure himself in as well, and has done excellently. And a little bit of a squeeze off the track there. Ross kind of subscribed to the...
Dan's gone up the inside. Is Dan going to be able to get the exit and get under the slipstream? Yes, he just about does. There is literally a car's length for him to go. Thank you very much. I'll take that.
Yeah, and it's just about enough as well that he managed to hold off Ross for now. And they head down the straight, but he had the worst car in a straight line of the three you were watching. Hammers on the outside, Ross on the inside, a little bit of a three-man sandwich going down into turn one. Ross again gets it too wrong, and again might be at subject of losing out to another person headed down into turn three here. As we head down, Ross is there. Ross has managed to hold on this time, where he couldn't against our Faxon a lap ago.
Good job, Ross, as we got Hammer going around the outside of Dan. Turn 4. And he's still there. No, he's just dropped in behind Dan. Yep. But Dan goes a little bit wide. Is this going to bring Hammer? And this is also going to bring in the rest of the pack behind them. So these guys are fighting too much and letting Harfax, Brummer and Turbo just disappear. As you can see, Turbo's got a hell of a lead to his teammate.
And you're not even going to point out the fact that they were fighting this much and this hard early in the race, as Dan goes to the inside of Hammers there and picks up the position, and I think it's also allowing for Ben to do the same, and Ben is going to get a double. He got one on Asseldor, he got one on Hammers in the following corner as well, and there's just no escaping Ben for Dan right now.
No, there isn't. I'm just looking at Ben's tyres. With lap 6, with 9 minutes 33 in, and his front left on the medium is shot.
Yeah.
So maybe is he going to do... I don't know, is he going to potentially look at a 3-stop if this is his tyre wear?
I'm not sure if you'd go something that drastic, but it definitely might be a double medium and then a soft. The worst case scenario, I think, as we go down here, and here comes Dan Denton Hammers, as Dan just gets that horribly wrong, loses out to Hammers, who he was side by side, and then to Asseldor as well, and he just drops off just a little bit off of Dan and Ben, which was his rivals in the sprint race, and now he has to find a way back into this one.
He does. He's getting in a little bit on Asseldor at the moment. That medium tyre is not gives it a lot of grip, but Denz is on the soft, so he's going to have compounded advantage. As we've got Hammer. What's happened to Hammer? Hammer's spun.
Oh, someone's had a bit of an issue there. Someone has had a bit of an issue. Let's have a proper look. We go around this long right-hander. Hammers gets on, tries to avoid Ben, I think. Gets a little bit too wide. Yep, way too wide, and gets around, and I think he tagged Asseldor, and somehow Denz managed to avoid all that.
Lucky Lucky dents, but unfortunate to hammer. It's not it's not what you want to do on your debut, my friend. Been there and I've done that, and it sucks. It's a horrible feeling.
It's one of those, you make the mistake once and you come back stronger, and Hammers definitely will do that, no question about it, even though Ross is probably going to end up being really annoyed at me for calling him Hammers. Even though that is in fact his name, associated for the club that he's associated with. As we head down the straight here now, Ross got past Brumer. Brumer starting to lose just a little bit of ground as the McLaren.
We've got both McLarens in the pits, so they are doing the two-stop soft.
Yeah, they are, and they've also got the undercut on the people doing that. They're also doing a two-stop. Here comes Dan to the inside of Brumer, and he is going to find just a little bit of gap, and a little bit of time, and a little bit of buffer now to Ben, which is the main point for Dan at this point. These two, the two leading the championship out of St. Croix last week. And now we've got to figure out whether or not, who's going to take control of this race and this championship going into the halfway mark.
We will. They both, Ben and Dan, would like to win the Drivers' Championship, especially at this point, as Dan decides to do a little bit of drifting coming out of turn 5 there.
Yeah, it's not going to help those tyres if you're trying to make those tyres exist for as long as they absolutely need to in this race. So on lap 8 now, Turbo Boy and Arfaxid have now subscribed to the 799 strategy on this race. There's no other way they can do it. They've gone in pretty much at the most optimal time for that strategy. There's no other breakdown they can do, I don't think.
I don't think so. So we got Dan all over the back of Ross there. I think Dan just doesn't quite have the pace at the moment as Dan comes into the pit. I think Dan's coming into... Yeah, he is.
So it's Asseldor. So much like we saw with the McLarens earlier, but it was all designed by one of the teams. We're about to see another design by one of the teams. The Lexuses now are off of their medium tyres. They've got to make something kind of sit up in this race, and
no one else follows them. It's only the two McLarens and the two Lexuses at the moment going in. So is everyone maybe looking at trying to, like you said earlier, doing the one stop?
It's an intriguing proposition, because I think the two stops, especially on softs, is a lot quicker. I won't say a lot quicker. I think that might be doing a bit of a disservice. But it definitely is quicker, obviously, if you're able to set the times, find the actual times involved, and I'm just curious as to what the plan is now for some of these drivers.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their tyres. Some like the FT1 Brummer and Ben's tyres on the mediums. Ben's front left is pretty much gone by the end of this lap. It's going to be gone, I think.
It could be the case that he's going to do a 988 maybe? I think that would be the right number.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it's a 988. That would be the right amount of laps. The lap race count being 25 laps for this race.
He'll have to come in. He's not. He's staying out.
Oh, which means he's going to drive on a little bit of dead tyres. However, Den's not willing to take that risk. Here comes Dens in on lap 9. So
I'll tell you what, well done for Dens taking a set of soft tyres 9 laps around this track. Well, that's fair play.
We say that as if... Ross is currently driving on a dead soft tyre. As here comes Brumer. Can Brumer do something against that Genesis right now? He's definitely got a better tyre than that Genesis right now, considering he's actually got 4 tyres with white on them instead of a full red left there.
He does. I think Ben's tyres has dropped as well, because Ben doesn't seem to... They have. So Ben and Ross in a similar boat as we got Brummer going having a look around the outside of Ross. Not quite able to get there.
He's definitely got the chance. If he wants to take advantage of the situation, Brumer's got to do it now, because the two around him are just starting to drop off in terms of the tyres. I'm aware that Ross is doing a one-stop, so he's going to drive on dead tyres for a little while longer yet.
Unless he can make up a load of time in a lot of the left-hand corners and the straight, if it was me, I wouldn't stay out. I'd box. But it's Ross driving. Let's see what Ross can do. As we look a little bit further back, we got a huge gaggle of cars. Not really a huge gaggle, just a couple of little spots here and there.
Anyone into the pits? None of the top three. Will Roblox go? No, he will not. Filthy also chooses to stay out. Wedley, however, isn't. Wedley is going in on lap 10. Time for a box for the Subaru. Let's see what he chooses to go on for tyres. Is it going to be another medium or is it going to be another...
Arfax gets turbo.
Yeah, it
because
does.
Just when they boxed, they were the other way around. So, did turbo maybe put a bit of fuel in, or did turbo have a moment that we missed?
I think turbo may have had a moment that we missed, because that was also pointed out to me by Ross on Monday night as well that did in fact happen. But Arfax is nonetheless in control now of the McLaren's races anyway. 6th and 7th as it stands. What did Wedley go on? He went on to a set of softs. He got mediums still on Hammers' car, who's trying to get himself there with Dens, who was already pitted onto a second set of softs, I think, for this race. Also, rather interestingly, the Lexuses, another medium tyre going on Asseldor's car and another medium tyre going on Dan's car.
Interesting. Well, they boxed at lap 8. So are they thinking of trying to do a extended middle stint to then come in on the softs?
I could assume so. It'll be a 2-stop for these guys for sure from this point onwards, but a double medium stint is an intriguing proposition. It's thankfully not one that I had to be a part of, and not one I would ever want to be a part of. It just blows my mind as to why they've gone double mediums. I think you could have got softs to last at least 7, if not 8.
Well, when I was doing this track on Monday, I managed to get a set of softs to last me 8 laps, and I could do a 9th. I wouldn't say comfortably, but I could do a 9th at a similar pace.
Fair enough. My tyres were dead after 8 on Monday, and it caused me a couple of problems. I went for undercuts, and well, it's not easy to do an undercut on a dead tyre.
It's not. Moving forward, as we got Filthy and keeping hold of 5th position, and we got Ben still staying out as we got Brummer. Again, not having a look at Ross, but can't get past Ross.
And I think this is mainly his issue in this race. If he had got past Ross a lap or 2 ago, he might have been a little bit clear by now, and he might have improved his standing when it comes to doing this one-stop, because there's definitely not a way he's not doing a one-stop now.
No, we've got a minute until we're at the halfway point, so as we got Brummer having a little look up the inside of Ross, not quite close enough. He's a little bit compromised. Ben might be able to hook onto the back of Brummer.
I think this might be a couple of pit stops heading our way now, considering, yeah, and I think that's very easy confirmation coming here from the front 2, definitely, maybe even the front 3. Ben going to follow it. Yeah, Ben, it's into the pits, apparently trying to push Brummer all the way through. And Roblox has stayed out.
The Roblox has got a couple of good tyres on there. As we got the net race leader in second, as we got Turbo coming up the inside of Filthy, just behind just there. Filthy stays out as well.
Able to make a little
further look. And a little further look back, as we got Dan in 5th position, so he's going to look at extending his title lead currently. So Ben's going to have to make at least 1 mega stint, if not 2 stints.
Yep.
Of qualifying pace to get anywhere near Dan at the moment.
But again, he's on the medium tyre. I'm assuming that might be the case as well here for Ben. It's just a case of what is going to happen and what's going to unfold in terms of the strategy, because double mediums is a a fairly unused strategy unless you're doing a one-stop. Wedley here, Ross behind that. He's currently on soft, so you see the one-stop versus the two stops. Bruma is still hanging on the back of Ross, and we'll see how much that comes into play later on, given the fact that the one-stops will come back to them, given the fact that everyone will drop back with an extra pit stop to go. Ben put on another set of a medium tyre, and Hammers did the exact same. Just the high-speed cars don't have the tyre wear. They hang on the high wear track.
No, they don't. I think. Just looking, I think did Ben put a bit more fuel in than Bruma? Just looking at their fuel as well.
Oh, comfortably.
He did. So
comfortably. He's put more fuel in than both of them. Ross had a second half penalty as Filthy now comes into the pit on lap 13. So Ross is going to serve the penalty, and Bruma is finally, after 5 laps, going to get through. It took him some time, but he's finally got through on Ross. Albeit he needed the penalty for help.
And then from there, let's have a little look through the grid as we got.
Roadblocks has now
We've not really got that much going on, I think, at the moment, have we? We've got Wesley all on his own soon. We've got Ben and Roadblocks having a little battle going through turn 1. Roadblocks is on a brand new set of softs.
Yeah, the Arix guys going at it at the start of their second stint, or the start of Roblox's second stint, should I say. Ben's been going for a couple of laps by this point. Roblox just not got enough under the corners to get past Ben in this race so far, and that's probably to be expected. Roblox hasn't really settled into tier 2 yet, whereas Ben is the current championship leader, so a little bit of a mismatch here.
Just a little bit, but let's keep an eye on them over the next couple of corners, as there's a couple of places where Roblox really reels Ben in, but then a couple of other places where Ben gains. We'll have to keep an eye on this.
Yeah, and can I just point out that at the front of this grid, the McLarens have got cruise control.
They have, so finally, as Ben goes a little bit wide, almost off the track there, coming up to the final corner. Sorry, as I was about to say, finally, the McLarens have switched on.
It's only taken them quite literally half a season, but they have in fact decided that they wanted to learn how to drive a car. Ben gets a half-second penalty there on the final corner, going a bit too wide on the exit.
If Roblox can stay with him, obviously it's going to be an easy pass, but if Roblox can get past Ben, it's going to harm Ben quite a bit, as Ben goes quite wide through turn 1, as Roblox is going to try and take the advantage of this. I don't think he can quite get the drive out of turn 1 going through 2.
Yeah, the Ferrari...
Ben just keeps in Go on.
The Ferrari just betraying Roblox a little bit there. You saw it again. We're under the throttle. It's just not as stable as one would like it to be, and it's just getting a little bit twitchy. Every time it gets a little bit twitchy, you'll just start to see Ben drive off just a little bit into the distance.
We do, as Roblox takes it a little bit wide, coming out of 5. Is that going to be over track limits? I don't think it is not. So Roblox got away with that. I think he's going to try and stay with Ben as much as he can over the next couple of corners.
Yeah, obviously given the penalty that will take place on the straight, looking at the rest of the grid, not really got anything starting to come to fruition just yet. Hammer's at the back of the grid, kind of just needs something to go right for once in this race. Not a great debut for him whatsoever in that Corvette. But we continue on. The final corner just happened. Going down the straight now. Ben's going to suffer just a little bit with this penalty. That Ferrari's got good straight line speed as well. So here comes Roblox alongside and past that BMW. Up into 9th goes Roblox with the use of the penalty. Now it's Ben's turn to try and fight it back.
Ben's not having a good second stint at the moment. Dan's in 3rd position and Ben's in 10th. So Dan's going to extend his championship lead out of this. If the race finishes right now, Dan's going to extend his lead in the championship. Let's see what Ben can do with the next 15 minutes of the race to go.
Yeah,
just looking a little bit further on the map, I think we've got a couple of people close together coming up.
It's about time.
I think it's the two McLarens quite close to each other, just a
Yeah,
little further ahead.
you're right. It doesn't look like they're close enough to really affect the race in terms of against each other right now. Because our Faxon, who quite frankly hasn't been a feature in any Tier 2 race since what? I think like the middle of last season, apart from big crashing, causing incidents with people, it's an absolute cruise control. At this point in time, he's got his teammates as backup. His teammate not really able to get close enough to fight him, so it's just a case of and our Faxon's got a ton more fuel than his teammate as well. So our Faxon really has a chance to dig just a little bit deep here and get a really good advantage on the rest of this grid.
It'd be good for him. It would be good to see the McLaren again on the top step, but can Turbo make it for 2 features in a row? I think that's what Turbo's going to try. Let's see. As Turbo puts in a little bit more fuel than Arfax, so he's going to come out a little bit further behind his teammate. Where does this slot them into? Arfax just about gets ahead of Ross.
Bear in
Turbo
mind,
just...
bear in mind that these guys they're coming out with now have just done their third. They are in the middle of their second stint in the race as a whole. They're on the one stop. So our Faxon has done his pit stops now and is ahead of Ross. So that does technically make Boomer net race, the actual net race leader up to this point, provided the 4 up front actually do still have to pit.
It does. So let's see what happens. As we got Ross really close to Arfax, as he's going to try and stay with him through this final section. That Genesis and Slipstream is going to be obviously much quicker than that McLaren, as you've repeatedly said. It's not that quick down the straight. So Arfax is going to be, I think Arfax is going to be aware of that, so he's going to try and use a little bit of this soft tyre, I reckon, to gain a little bit of time to Ross.
Yep, and if he's got any common sense, he will get a little bit wide, get a better exit, because quite frankly, Ross's tyres are already half dead, yours are fresh, you've got to get away while you still can. In comes Wesley, in comes Dens, and Faxon making the first part of his move to try and break the toe with Boomer in sight in front of him. So, both the Lexuses are still on medium tyres, and it's very clear that both of them are going to pit at some point because they don't have enough fuel to go the rest of the way.
No, I think Dan should pit this lap, and if he does pit this lap, I think he's going to come out around about sort of half P5, P6 area, which will put him in a very good spot for him to push on. He'll then have the freshest set of tyres on the whole grid.
Yeah, and him and Asseldor are definitely going to have to set something up, because the longer they stay out, the longer they're kind of just hindering their own chances. They are back. It goes very wide. So does Turbo Boy on the exit of the final corner of Sector 2 there. And it looked like the McLarens definitely have a good control of this race, given the fact that they have such a distinct tyre advantage over the other 2 cars around them. Ben also still exists in the top 5, but also, quite frankly, nowhere near the front. But it has got past roadblocks since the last time we looked at this battle.
Dan's in the pits. Dan's coming into the pits now.
Yep, and Nassador is going to follow him. So, the real question is, where are they coming out as Boomer takes the net race lead of this race, our actual on-track lead now as well. As he comes down the straight, he is your actual leader, with our Faxon in second, Ross in third, Turbo in fourth as it stands. Will they come out? Will the Lexuses come out in front of Ben? Is that going to happen? I don't know if it will. It looks like Dan is about to come out. Let's see where Ben is. Ben is past him, and I think roadblocks might be 2. They're going to come out side by side.
They are going to come out side by side. I think from the looks of that camera angle, it sounded pretty clean as Dan gets the better of Dan at the moment gets the better of Roadblocks, fresher tyres, as Roadblocks has a little look up the inside of turn 3. Keep it clean. Is anyone going to get off the track penalty? No, they don't. So it's crucial for Dan to get in front of Roadblocks then and keep the position.
Yeah.
So he can now hunt down Ben.
Of course, and that's the 2 that are fighting for championship superiority, of course. So The only problem for Ben is Ben's tyres are falling off the edge of a cliff soon, and Dan is literally the freshest tyre on the grid. So good luck, Ben. You're gonna need it.
You're gonna. I don't think Ben's got the strategy right this week, as we can see here, as Ben goes quite wide going through the corner here, as he gets himself all offline and all in a jiggle, as Roblox has a little look up Dan's inside there.
Yeah, and it'll give Ben just a little bit of a buffer of time there, going through to the second to last, and, well, I said that, and then it immediately disappeared because Dan got one hell of an exit.
Yeah. Fresh compounded tyres. Brummer is in from the race lead.
But how did he not pit?
He pitted on
12. So why has he pit? Why did he just pit from the race lead? Did he screw up and not put enough fuel in or something?
He might have not put enough fuel in.
Well, he's just screwed himself entirely because he'd gone from the race lead where he could have fought for the race entirely. He had our Faxon and Turbo Boy behind him, of course, but...
that's something we've missed. Turbo and Ross swap positions. That's something we missed.
Yep, you're right. Ross not able to hang on those Titans. I'm just bewildered by Boomer's decision to pit. I can only think it had to be the fuel because the tyres would have lasted. If you had chosen this strategy in the first place, then they had to have lasted. You weren't going to 12 without you know, just sticking in there and hanging on to a one-stop strategy, surely.
Or if he's going to do that, then maybe when he pitted, he should have gone onto the mediums instead of the softs to make the tyres last just that little bit longer. Because, well, the soft tyres do about, what, 8 laps, 10 laps at a push.
Unless you're Ross, who is still driving on those tyres. Who is on dead tyres again, but he is on lap 9 for this. Here comes someone else into the pit now, who's the one that's followed in. Roblox has followed in now as well, which is bewildering as to why you would pit so late. It's way too late for a pit stop by this point.
It is, and something else that we've missed through our bewilderment. Dan's got Ben. I know it's coming quite quickly, but
he's got Ben, but he's also got Ben quite significantly. If you look at the minimap, he's an entire corner ahead. If anything, he might be coming after Ross.
I think he is going to come after Ross. I think with the pace he's currently setting, I think he's going to get Ross. I think he's going to attempt to catch up to Turbo. My prediction is there's going to be a fight with Turbo at the last lap. That's my prediction.
It's going to be very interesting. He very clearly has the pace to try it. He'll certainly end up on a podium, but with 4 laps to go, I don't know if he's close enough. I really don't know if he's close enough to the 2-stop McLarens at the front, who are, well, quite frankly, in control of their own destiny here.
They are. So Dan's going to use the slipstream of Ross. Is Dan going to have a look at the inside of Ross? I think he is. He's close enough.
Oh, it looked like he had a little bit of an error there on the exit of the final corner, though. That might hamper him down the straight. It definitely won't make this overtake as easier. The first 40 was going to make it. They head down the straight now. You can see the slipstream starting to take effect. The gap is closing. It's still closing. He's now moved to the inside. He's got better tyres. He should be able to make it work. And to the inside goes Dan. And he's able to hold it as well with the fresher tyres. And he gets past up onto the podium.
And with the fastest lap as a 1:34.2, which is a monster lap.
And he's about to go quicker.
It seems like Dan thinks this is qualifying.
Well, given the fact that he's, the strategy those Lexus has decided to do, it probably is qualifying to him, to be completely honest with you. 6 laps, like 6 or 7 laps of fuel that he had with the car on fresh softs, yeah, probably sets up pretty well for qualifying laps repeatedly.
I think it does. Now, looking at the time, we got about, what, 4.5 minutes left? There's going to be another couple of laps left of this race. Looking at the times and looking at that gap, He's almost in a lap halved that gap between Turbo and Ross. I
Yeah,
think
it's...
there is going to be a fight. I think there might be a fight. Turbo needs to respond here because Turbo is... My maths correct.
The only issue that Turbo Boy has right now, that Dan has right now, is that there's 2 McLarens in front of him, and those tyres do not go off anytime soon. And there's on the 2-stop as well, 35.1 compared to a 34.2, 9/10 of a second per lap right now for Dan.
Yeah.
The real question is, too little, too late.
It could be.
That's the ultimate question at the end of the day now, isn't it? Because he definitely got the pace, no question about that. You just see back to back 34s and lap 20 and 22 being identical times. It's rather a rather interesting sight. Is he close?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, he's in sight. Dan can see him. Dan knows that he's got the potential. I think Ross is nowhere in the picture. Ross is out the picture. If anything, I think Dens might even get Ross as well.
Dens are definitely going to try. We might have another bit of movement here, though, with Vasildor and Ben, because Ben is all over the place. Look at that right. That front left is in no state whatsoever. Also got Wedley and Filthy behind as well. Filthy also on a tyre with nothing left to give. Here comes Wesley on the outside. Can he hang it? Can he do enough? That's a bit aggressive there by Filthy. I don't think you'd get away with that too many times.
I don't think you will. There's a little bit of a squeal back there. Just at the top of our picture as we got... wrong person. So we've got Anton and Ben side by side coming through the last corner.
Well, they're not side by side anymore.
They're not side by side anymore, as Anton gets a better exit than Ben, but Ben's going to have the slipstream, and also he's going to have the quicker car down the straight. That Lexus is quick, but it's not as quick as the BMW down the straight. So let's see what Ben does as the slipstream comes into effect now, as he has a little look for the inside. Yes, he does.
Goodbye. Well, Ben's tyres are very much taking effect now. You can tell, given the fact that that front left is dead and he thought he was still on lap 1.
Can I just drag your attention back to the top 3 again, just looking at that mini-map? I'm looking at the mini-map and it's close.
It's closer, but again, we're on lap 24 already, and it's only a 25-lap race. I don't think Dan is close enough or doing laps at a quick enough time. It's still about 0.8 of a second. He realistically needs multiple seconds here in the next couple of laps, not just 1.5 seconds. I think he is going to run out of time here. Look, that gap didn't look surmountable in 1 lap, to be completely honest with you.
No, sorry, it just looks a bit smaller on the mini-map than it does in real time. Looking a bit further back as we got a big gaggle of cars coming up right now, as we got Dens and Ross fighting each other. Ross obviously with a dead front left, as Dens has got plenty of juice left on that tyre.
This should be made relatively simple here for Dens. Better tyres, better... well, I don't know if the car's better in a straight line. They're very, very both good straight line speed cars. Although Ross is actually doing enough to hold on for a split second. And if you go here and you go into the braking zone, just brake a little bit later, you've got the better tyres, you should be able to make this work. But Ross has done fantastically to hold on for dear life.
He has. Looking a bit further back, because we've got a small gaggle of cars here. Sorry, I was just looking a bit further back as Brummett and Filthy having a little bit of a touchy moment. And Filthy having a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 1 there. Don't think Filthy's having a fantastic race right now. As Brummer still has got flashing fuel, which is last lap anyway. It doesn't matter. But again, I'm like you. I'm just baffled that he pitted when lap 19, lap 18, lap 19.
Yeah, it's a puzzling decision as Ben almost loses the car again. Will Wedley take advantage right at the end here? We'll see down to this corner and then figure out where the front of the grid is lying. Here comes Wedley and Broomer are going side by side as they head down into the final sector for one last time. We're going to go to the front though, because it's a McLaren day, and it's going to be a McLaren 1-2. They finally showed up halfway into the season, and our Faxon is going to win the feature race in Fuji, a name I didn't think I'd be putting in that sentence today, for certain.
As
What
we
a
got
drive.
it is, and what a fantastic drive from both McLarens. They've finally woken up and realised, hang on, our engine does switch on. We don't just run off the wind.
You got Dan in third, so extension of the championship lead there and thereabouts. Dan did eventually get Ross. It took him a while, but he did get it. Anton, Hasseldahl gets sixth. Ben gets seventh, just about in the end. You see Broomer almost able to do it. Broomer gets eighth. Well, Filthy gets ninth. Wedley gets 10th. Roblox gets 11th. And Hammers at the back of the grid did not enjoy his debut too much at all.
Doesn't seem like it, but you learn from your races, and hopefully he has a better race the next time he goes in. But what a drive from the McLarens. What a fantastic drive from them.
Yeah, and it's about time they took one, because they had to get something going at some point. Turbo Boy had one good race up until this point, but outside of that, they had been very much sleeping for the rest of the season.
So sorry, just 2 seconds. I'll have a quick look at the standings. So currently, find tier 2. Where are you? There you are. So currently, Dan takes the lead over Ben by 14 points in the championship.
Oh,
with 130 points, with Ben on 116.
A rather substantial lead then, as they enter the halfway point of this season. And I think that's everything we had to go over today.
I think it is. And just, updating, if I've got my names right, Dens is now going up to P3 in the championship, and Turbo Boy is now in P4 in the championship, and Chris, he was P3 before this race, and he's now gone down to P5 in the championship standings. So Chris with a bit of work to do if he wants to stay up in the championship fight for this season. But for Den's Turbo, it's game on for position 3 in the championship.
Yeah, everything's still to play for with just halfway through the season. A lot of racing to go and a lot of straight line speed left to be put on the track in the second half of the season as well. But I think that's it for Fuji. I've been Pyro. He's been Gunmad. And we will see you guys next week.